Life is so very simple. You guys hear me say this all the time. Life is simple. Only egos complicate. Only egos complicate. Be aware of this, because anytime when we are thinking we are struggling at something, anytime when we think we're not getting the results we want, it's because of one thing and one thing only: taking responsibility for what you can control, which is you. That's why I say responsibility drives results. We must take ownership for ourselves, for our actions, and for everything in our world. Ask yourself this question: if everything remained the same in the situation, what's the only thing that you could change? Yeah, that's right. Yourself. The only thing I can ever change in any situation is me. Responsibility drives results. If you're not achieving results in any area of your life that you desire to, it's time to take a look at how you can act more responsibly, how you can be more responsible and take responsibility for that lack of results and get in motion by taking action and doing the things that you need to be doing that will drive the results through you taking responsibility for yourself and your actions, thus taking responsibility for your results. Far too often, I see people all across the globe who have resigned themselves to a lower level of existence. And oftentimes, those people's lives are filled with massive vices, whether it's drugs and alcohol, whether it's food, whether it's negative thinking or behavior patterns of any sort. And it is because they have chosen to perpetuate the brokenness of obliviousness, living in oblivion. They have chosen to not take responsibility for their self-awareness, which will drive clarity on the things that they need to be doing. And so they resign themselves and they opt out of life every single day. And guys, I can actually say that I get it, because I did this for a lot of my life with drugs and alcohol. I would wake up in the morning, and before I'd even allow the day to have an opportunity to begin, I would start ingesting substances. And then I would end up feeling more broken inside, not being able to look myself in the mirror, perpetuating the misery deep, deep down within, and perpetuating the brokenness. And it wasn't until I decided that it was time to take responsibility for my feelings and emotions, I decided it was time to take responsibility for my actions and my thoughts, and I decided it was time to take responsibility for my energy. Because guys, energy is what drives everything in life. All of creation, all of existence in every dimension is from vibration, which is energy. Even our hearts have a specific vibration which is causing them to beat and produce energy for the body. So when our actions are in alignment with our conscience, with our purpose and the calling on our life, it will drive high-level positive thinking, which will lead us to resonating higher frequency energy. And the only way that we can do this is by taking responsibility for our actions, our thoughts, and our energy. So many people are just blatant, just like oblivious, and they're just blatant with how they throw their energy around in situations and bring negativity and limitations of humanness into so many situations. I see it all the time. And I just pray for those people. If you're one of them, I pray for you as well, that you can lift your vision higher and see who you were created to be when you were created before you were sown into your mother's womb. And you can understand the power and the potential of your anointing and the responsibility of your royal priesthood when you were given that royal priesthood during creation. The fact of the matter is I was not able to elevate myself beyond this perpetual cycle of brokenness until I decided I had to take responsibility for my actions, my thoughts, and my energy. And it wasn't until I lost everything, for you guys that know my story, having lost everything several years ago, in the middle of a massive scaling of a very successful, at least monetarily, financially, entrepreneurial venture, while I was completely morally, ethically, spiritually, and emotionally bankrupt inside. And I needed to have that happen so that I could realize I was the broken thing, that I was the broken variable in the equation. That I had constructed my entire world based on the brokenness within. And it's just a further testament to the saying that the world is not as it is. The world is as you are. So whatever I see in the world is because that's who I am. That's the way I show up, and so that's my perception on the world. Take responsibility for your actions, for your thoughts, and for your energy, and it will drive results. Life is so simple, only egos complicate. Only egos complicate because the ego will never be wrong, so it will try to convince you that it must be way more difficult than it really is, so that it'll convince you to never even attempt to begin it, so it can be right that it was too hard and too complex and too difficult, and that's why you didn't do it. Not just because of laziness or procrastination or self-doubt. The best way to put anxiety, self-doubt, nervousness, fear at bay is to take positive action forward. We cannot think ourselves into new ways of acting. We must act ourselves into new ways of thinking. And when we do these physical acts, it will prime a peak state inside of us, and we will think a higher thought. When we're in a low state, all we can see is problems. Everywhere I look when I am in a low state, all I see is problems. I have trained myself to have the pattern recognition of when that is happening, that I need to start exercising or doing breath work or doing an ice bath or cold shower, something to break my state so that I can actually reset myself and get into that peak state again, so I can see solutions everywhere I look. Because after a workout, after a breathwork session, after a cold bath or cold shower, all I can see is solutions everywhere I look, because I have charged my system with a peak state. It's impossible for the mind to operate in a low state when the body is in a peak state. So therefore, I can elevate my frequency, my energy, by moving my body. And like others like to say, that in order to change your psychology, you must change your physiology. We must move the body, which will create new thoughts internally. I love y'all. Get to work right now. Cut off whatever you're watching this video on and write down the one thing that you have not been doing that you need to be doing, and do that thing right now today, and you will shine brighter.